Donald Trump is getting hit with bad news from where he least expects it, from regular Americans who are rising up, coming together, and declaring we are not going back. Let's face it, as we get to the final days of the election, tensions are running high. It's very stressful, but one of the things that helps ease my anxiety is seeing all of these incredible viral videos on TikTok of Americans participating in our democracy. There's such incredible momentum on the ground. I know that you're seeing it too. So today, I want to share with you some of my favorite videos that I've seen in the past day or so. My name is Brett Meiselas here with the MeidasTouch Network. Remember to hit subscribe. We're on our way to 3.5 million subscribers, and we can't get there without you. Okay, first, I want to show you this video of this Latino cowboy in California. Watch.
My brothers y hermanos, Donald Trump is a white supremacist. Donald Trump is a white nationalist. He does not give a shit about you or your families. He does not care about people of color. All he supports is himself and rich people. Do not let this orange orangutan do that Jedi trick on you and deceive you. Vote for Kamala Harris. Vote for your future.
Speaking of cowboys, let's check out these cowboys for Harris.
Yo me sueño acariciando esa carita morena.
I know this woman's daughter is going to be so proud of her when she gets older. Watch.
Early voting started today in West Virginia, and I got to take my 9-month-old daughter with me. And so one day I'll get to tell her how she was with me when I voted in the most important election of my lifetime, and how I voted for her and every other woman and child in this country.
One of the big trends on TikTok right now are guys saying that their wives aren't going to have to cancel out their vote by voting for Vice President Kamala Harris because they are voting for Vice President Kamala Harris. Here's one of those.
My flex is that my wife isn't going to have to worry about canceling my vote out.
I love that so much. And by the way, one of the through lines that I've seen in so many of the videos that I've watched recently is that people are getting incredibly emotional when they go to the polls. And this means a lot to so many people because the stakes are just so high. So on that note, let me show you this woman who is very emotional after she early voted. Watch.
I just voted and I'm emotional. I'm like crying and I'm fighting for my rights. And there were these also I voted stickers that little kids made for women. I would like some rights.
Let me show you one more like that.
I just finished early voting. Early voting in Missouri started yesterday. It didn't take too long, but oh my God. It felt so good to cast that vote. I've never cried casting a vote. I've never cried casting a vote. And here we are, another TikTok of people crying and voting early. The next week and a half, 2 weeks is going to be crazy, but I'm hopeful. And if you can get out there and vote, do it. Do it. It's a load off. It feels so good this time around.
This next woman is spot on. She says that this election is not even political at all. It's moral.
I'm going to say this with my whole chest. This election is not political. It's moral. And I don't care how many friends or family members I lose with my vote. You cannot say you care and love somebody and vote for somebody that's going to hurt them. It's just as simple as that. I don't give a fuck about the price of gas and groceries right now. I don't. That's not a deal breaker. But taking away somebody's civil and human rights away from them, that's a deal breaker. taking rights away from women's bodies, that's a deal breaker for me. Mistreating the LGBTQ community, that's a deal breaker. Discriminating against the trans community, that's a deal breaker. That is a deal breaker. It is moral. If you are a Trump supporter, get off my page. Get up from my table and leave. You are not welcome here. You don't belong at my table. Don't announce your departure. Just get up and leave. That's all I gotta say.
This next guy was also showing raw emotion after voting for Vice President Harris. Watch.
I'm so emotional. I had never seen anything like this. I didn't film all of it. I didn't want to be fucking obvious or all that. But the people that I met in line, it's awesome.
And I love this next video. This is a new citizen in the United States voting in his first election, and he's voting for Vice President Harris. Watch.
All right, folks, I'm going to vote for in my first election for the one and only Kamala Harris and Team Walls for president and vice president. I got my passport, I got my ID card, I got my voter's card. Let's go.
All right, be honest with me for a second. Have you ever stood in the wine aisle staring at rows and rows of bottles, completely clueless about what to pick? It used to be such a time suck for me until I discovered our next sponsor, Naked Wines. These folks have completely changed the wine game for me. This podcast is sponsored by Naked Wines. Naked Wines is a subscription service that connects you directly to some of the world's finest independent winemakers, so you can get top-tier award-winning wine delivered right to your door. And with our code MIDAS, that's MEIDAS, you can snag 6 bottles for just $39.99. Pretty sweet, right? I just cracked open a bottle of Naked Wine's latest shipment the other night. I got this incredible Cabernet, and let me tell you, it was perfect for a laid-back evening with my family. What I love most about Naked Wines is the experience. It's not just about drinking wine. It's about hitting pause on all the noise, turning off the phone, and just being in the moment with friends and family. Naked Wines isn't just about great wine. It's about connecting people. They support over 90 independent winemakers from around the world, and each bottle you get has a story behind it. Honestly, I love that. Plus, it's so easy to find something you love because their quiz matches you to bottles based on your taste. Each shipment feels like it's made just for me. And the best part, you could pause or cancel anytime. So even if you got a trip coming up, there's no stress about missing out on your next box of wine. Now is the perfect time to join Naked Wines community. Head to nakedwines.com/Midas and use our code Midas. Remember, that's MEIDAS. That's both the code and the password, and you'll get 6 bottles of wine for just $39.99, shipping included. That's nakedwines.com/Midas. Use code Midas for 6 bottles of wine at just $39.99. This next guy shows us how right-wingers react to him when he wears his HarrisWalls camo hat.
I've been doing really well this year hunting in this hat. And I've learned that deer react the same way that conservatives do when they see me wearing it. They just walk right up to me and go,
I love that. This next guy writes over his video, "You live in Texas, it must be super red." And you could see as he brings the camera around his neighborhood that just about every house has a HarrisWalls sign in Texas. I mean, we're seeing so much crossover voting this year, and I think one of the reasons is that Vice President Harris's policies are really resonating with people on all sides of the aisle, because there's nothing conservative about what Donald Trump wants to do to our economy, and there's nothing conservative about Donald Trump's fascist ideals. On that note, I want to show you this video that's also been going around on TikTok. This is from the Center for American Progress. This is from Cap Action. They say, here are 2 different economic plans for America. Which works best for you? Watch.
This is America, divided between Kamala Harris's path forward and Donald Trump's desire to go back. In this video, we'll break down VP Kamala Harris and Donald Trump's contrasting visions for America on taxes. First, let's talk about tax increases. Donald Trump has proposed a 50% tax on every imported good entering the country. Experts estimate Trump's tax increase will end up costing families nearly $7,500 a year. Harris plans to increase taxes on billionaires and corporations. She would raise the corporate tax rate to 28%. Trump would instead lower the corporate tax to 15%, giving a $50 billion handout to the largest corporations. Trump would make his 2017 tax cuts permanent. That would lower taxes even more for millionaires and billionaires, and it would cost Americans $4 trillion. Harris would give tax cuts to families, workers, and small businesses in local communities. New families would get $6,000 in the first year of their baby's life, and 17 million workers would get tax cuts. Like Harris said, it's time to invest in the middle class. These two tax plans couldn't be more different. Trump's America would raise costs on the middle class and give his billionaire buddies more money. Harris's America would lift up the middle class and make billionaires pay what they owe. Which vision of the future works better for you?
This next woman says that she loves it when Republican women call her a liberal like it's some sort of insult. Watch.
I love when Republican women call me a liberal like it's a f***ing insult. You'd be nowhere without liberals. Liberalism is an ideal, not a political party. It just so happens that the checklist of liberal ideals tend to align with the Democratic Party, but without liberal ideals, you'd still be living in a cave. Shall we start a checklist list? The reason you can vote, the reason you're not considered your husband's property, the reason you can get a driver's license, the reason you could get a credit card, the reason you could take a loan out in your name for a home or a car, the reason you can work, the reason why your husband can go to jail for beating the out of you, the reason you're not discriminated in a workplace for being pregnant, or discriminated in a workplace in general, the reason you could take an international flight without your husband's permission, the reason you could file for divorce. Basically, every right that has ever been afforded to you as a woman is thanks to a liberal. The only reason we've ever progressed as a society is thanks to liberals. So you can call me a liberal like you're calling me a see you next Tuesday all you want. At the end of the day, we both know that you'd be nowhere without people that think like I do.
Democrats rule.
This next video is of Vice President Harris meeting a young kid backstage at one of her events. I absolutely love this. And now, I gotta end with a funny one. Here's one that says, a day in the life of a swing voter. Check this out.
What should I have for breakfast? This Rice Krispies cereal or an entire bottle of bleach? It's such a hard choice. What could you possibly be concerned about with the cereal? I just don't like banana. And see, there's bananas here in the rice. Your messaging has just been inconsistent. Like earlier it was blueberries and now it's bananas. Pick one, you know what I mean? You're comparing that to bleach. Well, Clorox is an American company. I don't know where all this rice came from. Anyways, I was thinking about getting a pet. Yeah, how about you just skip breakfast? Great, I'm deciding between either a cat or an entire box of cockroaches.
That's so good right there. Listen, there's no time to be a swing voter right now. There's no time to remain on the fence. We got to get out there. We have to be supporting our democracy. So if you voted early, let me know in the comments. I want to hear all about it. I want to hear where you voted, what the experience was like, what were the other people on the line like, how long did it take? Give us all the details. Your stories are such inspiration for us, and they inspire other people to get to the polls. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know what your favorite video was also. I always love hearing about that. Make sure that you're putting in the work. All gas, no breaks till Election Day. Thank you so much for watching. Remember to subscribe. Help us get to 3.5 million subscribers. I'll see you soon.
Hey Midas Mighty, love this report? Continue the conversation by following us on Instagram @MeidasTouch to keep up with the most important news of the day. What are you waiting for? Follow us now.